gather up some chewables, and settle in for another Seasons Saturday. Today we look at the Massachusetts Seasons disc, but before that adventure begins, we are treated to two pre-shows. First of which is Play on Display, where we talk with the owner of a toy museum. Though a fascinating place, I found the shots swoop through everything pretty quick, and every second toy is either some kind of memory or such a curiosity that I wanted to stare and dwell on it, which is mostly the experience that these Seasons discs provide. 3D likes it slow, especially strong native 3D that the eye may need a little extra time to absorb, but not so slow here. I got the feeling that there was so much to see that this was an attempt to cram it all in. And if you're anything like me, you might find yourself reaching for your pause button to savor these moments. Story-wise, we get a brief history of the museum's origins and its need to quickly find a new home. I wonder if it succeeded. If the place was able to do so, it would make a good long-form documentary, perhaps dwelling a bit on the history of some of the toys themselves. Well, the next pre-show on the disc is When You Reach the End, which interviews a couple of video store rental places. One survived by catering to the ultra-niche, and the other just happened to exist in a place where the internet hadn't quite reached its spindly hands. You could say the video shop was a kind of internet before the internet, especially high-speed internet. Ripping DVDs was kind of a pastime for any computer nerd of the early 2000s. Small armies of college kids were back engineering the coding and producing tools to make your own menus and discs back then. Unfortunately, by the time that Blu-rays arrived, YouTube was established and discs were no longer interesting to the same crowd. So for anyone interested in making a Blu-ray disc, like Variety Films does, your options are spending tens of thousands of dollars on the sanctioned professional tools, or make the best of a handful of consumer tools that haven't really seen updates in 10 years, which is why the menus and options on independent Blu-rays, especially 3D Blu-rays, are either non-existent or very basic. The 3D on this short doesn't add too much to rows of videos, though there are some interesting doorways and road signs that make for nice stereo moments. However, the stories and nostalgia of renting videos are interesting tinder for igniting old memories. Okay, on to our main feature, Massachusetts Seasons. In the old days, they used to believe that stuttering was caused by demon possession, so they named the state Massachusetts to drive them all out to Maine. We begin our stereo tour with a drive into Boston. Not quite the nature experience of the previous Seasons discs. Although we don't stay in the city for long, there is a lot more concrete to be seen in this edition. Boston is a deadly, deadly place. So many dead. Like the previous Seasons, this isn't a guided tour, but an exploratory 3D visual show with either natural sound or light musical ambience. What is funny about that is it can be difficult to break out of a YouTube-addicted, headline-attracted, internet junkie mindset and actually just allow myself to be at peace for an hour or so. But once in that door, I wonder why I lingered outside for so long. So much is lost by not giving the mind time to meditate. I think it actually becomes a kind of obese by all the casino blinky distraction on our phones and computers. And although Seasons is still an electronic distraction, it serves as a kind of bridge between those two worlds. The 3D provides the distraction, but the pace provides a relief, a taste of the joy that can be found in disconnection. Many shots, such as these flowers, are made to push out as much as possible, yet it never feels showy or gratuitous. It actually feels like how 3D should be seen, looking at two genuine angles of something, and it's okay to wrestle with it. If you peer behind the branches, you lose focus of the branches, and that's okay. You don't have to hold on to it. The shot lingers. You have time. You can come back to the foreground later. Let it blur out. Let your eyes do their thing. Looking at Boston weather, I guess the coldest it gets is just hovering around the freezing mark, making for some nice stereo moments of thin ice, creating a kind of natural display case for the vegetation. I always found this wet refrigerator cold to be the most uncomfortable cold. Extreme cold pulls the moisture out of the air, which oddly provides some insulation, letting the body turn up its internal heater without getting into a sweat, which also creates a kind of a natural high you'd normally only get from exercise. With this light cold, it always felt to me like the environment was just sucking the energy out of me by some invisible umbilical cord. But from a couch, it looks so cozy and seems to provide a kind of permission to be even extra lazy on this season's Saturday.